been really talking about a lot lately is that shadow emotional stuff. Um, do we all have shadow emotions, Harry?
I think, John, a sort of consequence of duality, which we come into, which I love. I love duality, by the way. But that with everything good, there must be a very high, there must be a low. That goes for every single human living in duality. And that means that you will be happy some days, and some days you will have to face your shadow, because the opposite of happiness is, sadness. The opposite of love is, okay, if, boredom, whatever you want to call it. There's always going to be in life of duality this development, because we're not looking at ourselves. And I'm not perfect. I've got a shadow side I'm dealing with. My shadow side has changed a lot since when I started, but I still got shadows that I will look at and I'm working through. The point is, you have to in order to change your shadow to become a better person, you have to acknowledge that your shadow is real and give it credence, and then work through it. Don't ignore it, because a lot of people will do anything to hide from that shadow. Absolutely
Hide it.
anything.
They hide it. They suppress it because I know, and I had a discussion just with a customer just yesterday, and the response was, well, like, I'm a good person, so that means I don't really have negative things in my life. How would you
Hmm.
respond to that?
Well, I've been in that position before too. And then what happens is I fasted for a long time, and the emotions came out, and I start crying, and I'd think, actually, you know what? There is, you know what it is? My best answer to that is this: what we think consciously is like 5% of the brain. Our brain is run by 95% subconscious, and we don't. And even me and you, John, we know a lot, but we don't know everything that's going on in our subconscious. It's absolutely impossible. So for someone to say they don't need any human to say they don't need shadow work, that assumes that they are conscious 100%. That's impossible. Your brain is running on a subconscious auto program constantly.
There's things that we don't know that are suppressed, that it's not that you're a bad person if you have a shadow. This is the thing. It's like, shadow is a part of life. Like, every person has a shadow. It doesn't mean you're good or you're a bad person because you have a shadow. First of all, there's no bad people. There's no bad people, right? Everybody is a good person. Some good people do bad things. Everybody does bad things sometimes. Nobody is good or bad. It's not like I'm bad if I have a shadow emotion. It's not like I'm bad if I have to address my shadow emotion. We all have to address our shadow emotions. It's that society says that it's not right to be angry. It's not right to be frustrated. It's not right to be sad. It's not right to be low energy. We got to be high energy with our kids. We got to be high energy at work. We got to be high energy. We got to perform. We got to perform. So we end up shoving all of that shadow stuff down, and we can't deal with it. We don't have time to deal with it. We don't have time to deal with it. Oh, I can't deal with that right now. Well, if we don't ever deal with it, then it stays stuck in the body. And these shadow emotions get stuck in the weak spots in the body. So if you've got an injury in your body, those shadow emotions will go into your injuries. If you've got, in your digestive system is a real big spot for them, because our digestive system is damaged from poor eating. So we've got inflammation and damage inside the intestinal tract, in the intestines. There's damage in the liver. There's damage in the kidney. So shadow emotions can get into the organs of the kidney, on the liver, in the intestines. Shadow emotions will hide in your organs, and you'll feel like, oh, I've got a digestive ailment and I need to take a medication to fix it. Really, I need to do the shadow work to release that stuff. Now, when you do the shadow work, you're fasting, you're staying empty, because that's how we heal the body. And then you're going to feel these emotional stuff's going to come up. Shadow stuff's going to come up, anger, frustration. And then, we try to cover it up by eating something or drinking something to feel better, coffee or alcohol. That's how we cope. We get a medication to cope with it. We suppress it. All of this shadow stuff is suppressed. And if we were to actually sit and face that shadow, like fast, feel those emotions come up, and then lock yourself in your bedroom, lie under the covers, go for a workout, go for a jog, Go for a holiday by yourself. Spend a couple days, just be in your room, just be by yourself and work through that stuff, because you're going to have to work through the thoughts that are associated. Well, she did this to me, or he did this to me, or they did that to me, or they're this, or they're that. You're going to have to reconcile those emotions. You're going to have to forgive them, and you're going to have to forgive yourself. Because until you do, that shadow stuff is going to be stuck in there. And until you stop blaming other people for what's going on in your life, they did this to me, or they're bad, or they're this, and they're this. It's the liberals, it's the conservatives, it's the blacks, it's the women, it's the paraplegics, it's the this, it's the that. Stop blaming. No one is to blame. We are the creators. And as long as you keep blaming somebody else for something and saying they're bad and I'm good, that's all the problem. That's all the problem. Stop blaming anyone else. Everybody is creating their reality. And as long as you keep shoving down those shadow emotions and not dealing with them, they'll continue to manifest the same pains and problems and sickness and illness and disease in your life, what you're going to go get medicated for, what you're drinking your coffee for, what you're drinking your alcohol for, what you have those eating habits for, because you're trying to drown out your sorrow in food.
Yeah. I mean, you wonderfully said, by the way. Life is tough for all of us, but at some point you have to make a decision to start the process, and understand as well before you start that there is another way where you can heal yourself and feel so much better. People like me and you and many others here are talking about it. There's a better way. So you start the process, you make the choice, and it's going to be a long journey. It's long for me, it's long for you, John. We're never done. We love it though. We love it. But you've got to start and make a choice. You're either, because karma's real. Your body will give you feedback. If you're suppressing emotions and you've got stress, you're not pulling out from deep within, and you're not doing the work, it will stay in the body and it will cost you either a shortened life, which you don't want because you want to be there for your children, your friends and family, or if it doesn't shorten your life, it will definitely shorten the quality of your life. And these are not ways that we want to live, because it won't give you what you came here to do, which is to become the best version of yourself, the happiest version of yourself, and to help other people. There will always be blocks unless you make that decision. And literally, I know it's cheesy what John said and what I'm saying as well, but you have to make a decision to do it. You have to say enough's enough. That's what happened to me 10 years ago. Enough's enough. I'm going nowhere in my life. I can't carry on with this. Okay, and start. And recognize that it's never a process where you just finish. You're constantly working yourself, constantly.
But it's not like we're saying, you know, your problem's not important, or, you know, people will come on and say, well, you don't understand because I was raped. You don't understand because I live in an impoverished country. You don't understand because you know, my mother did this and she was an alcoholic, or she was a drug addict, or my mother killed herself, or my mother died of cancer, or that. Whatever is going on for anyone, it's hard. We all understand it's hard. We've all had traumas and we've all had challenges. We've all had a bad relationship. Not all of us have been abused, and I'm not trying to belittle you because you were abused. But Oprah Winfrey was abused and raped at 9 and 13, and she's the most successful female woman in the world. So you can overcome these things, but you have to decide at some point to let it go. Like, if you're not ready yet, that's okay. But some point along the way, you've got to say, I'm making a decision. I'm in charge, and I'm going to deal with these emotions. I'm going to deal with this energy, and I'm going to heal it. And I'm going to forgive that person, or just say, you know what? I'm just not going to interact with that person anymore, but I forgive them. I'm not holding anger or hate or frustration or any sort of shadow emotion toward that person or that situation anymore. I've got to let it go. Nobody else can do it.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away until I let it go. And it's my mind and my decision to do that. It has to happen.
Yeah. And John, what we talked about is interesting. Like, we know now from neuroplasticity, the brain can change at any point. It's not just in your 20s, up to 20s. From age 50, 60, your brain can change. So if you understand, do some research on neuroplasticity. If you think that where you are now in the comfort zone of being a victim is who you are, all you have to understand is that your brain can fix itself, and you can slowly move those mirror neurons away from victim mindset to, oh, I'm a bit more positive today. I'm still negative. I've still got a victim mentality, but I'm taking action. I'm getting a bit more positive. That's how I started. I had a major negativity and a little bit more positive, like 1%, maybe 0.1% more happy. And then I did it every single day, like yeah, that's it.
Inch by inch by inch by inch. That's how we heal naturally. It's not overnight. It's not a pill. It's not like you do this and all of a sudden you're healed. And people say, "Oh, I did that for a week or two, and this happened and that happened." Yeah. It's not gonna happen in a week or two.
No. And you know, John, as well, I'm 10 years into this. The first 5-6 years, I'll be completely honest with you, the process, I was doing the right things, John, for the first 6 years, trying to become happier, taking action, but I was not enjoying the process. And I was doing the right things, but I was resisting, saying, I hate the process. And I was saying in my mind, I just want to be fixed tomorrow. I said that for so many years, but I was doing the right thing. Do you know what happened? Because I carried on doing the right thing and I persisted past that point, eventually, 6 years in, I started to love the process. And now I really love the process. And every year that I go on this earth, and I'm sure the same, you just love the process and the journey more and more and more. And it's nonstop.
So this is what has to happen. We've got to embrace ourselves, embrace this shadow that we have, admit it. Yep. Acknowledge it. If you're still saying you don't have a shadow, well, then the mindset's got to make a shift, because every human does.
Yeah, that's part of duality. It's part of ego. Ego keeps us alive, but at the end of the day, yeah, definitely.